in spirit of the holiday season, I figured I would give you guys a test of faith and ask you guys about 2 NBA teams per round and tell me which one you have more faith in. So, if pretty elementary concept: Suns or Clippers? Suns coming off a tough loss.
Clippers easy.
Clippers, yeah.
Dude, straight up, man.
Where'd Robin Hood go? He needs to hear this.
Come back, Robin Hood.
We said we have more faith in the Clippers over the Suns.
No, I'm a Suns hater for real, dude. It's not just because he's on the roster, but also because, I feel like if you're I understand there's been no Bradley Beal, but if you're supposed to be a contender, I think you should look better without your third best player. Like, I understand if they don't look fully contender tier without Bradley Beal, but they should look better than they do without Bradley Beal.
Yeah, they just don't have the depth to do anything besides ISO and hand it off to the next guy.
Yeah, but I got bad news, because if you're expecting some world where these guys all get healthy together and there's not a series where they miss a game or two, that's pretty unlikely. So I just do not feel good about them whatsoever. And the Clippers are on this great streak. They got better faster than I expected. I just feel way better about the Clippers.
I'm with you.
More faith: Lakers or Bucks?
Lakers.
Yeah, Lakers. Jacob?
Really?
You can go east or the west on this one.
I'm more faith. Well, okay. Are we gauging this by like probability of winning a championship?
It's whatever standard you set within the answer. That's up to you. This is a game about giving. So you need to give me a response.
I feel better about the Bucks than I do the Lakers. I don't feel as good about either of those teams as I would like to. The Bucks, I still think, even if Dame and Giannis doesn't hit as well as it very well could, it's still Dame and Giannis, and it will still be solid, especially as Chris Middleton is improving as the year goes along. Yeah.
Coffee Nike says, Lakers. I trust LeBron.
I don't trust either of their coaches. I don't think either of those teams are very well coached.
Yeah, Bucks need Bud back.
I'd probably go with the Bucks, just because I think there's I don't know, there's a little more of like a track record there, I guess. Obviously the Dame addition's a lot different, but Giannis is having like probably the best season of his career. Is that correct? Like, I think this is probably the best season of his career right now.
Yeah, he's coming off a game where he had like 16 assists or something like that. Like Tuesday there was 4 games, all 3 of them had their own points.
He had like 15, 17, and 15.
Yeah, the Bucks one was the Giannis stat line.
He's having like one of the most dominant paint scoring seasons ever.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Like, he's getting easy shots at the rim all the time.
Damian Lillard spacing? Question mark?
Hey,
sure,
that helps. Yeah.
It's definitely better than fucking Drew Holiday. I feel somewhat confident helping off of Drew Holiday if I can get a nice enough recovery. You can't really get a good recovery on a Dame help,
Mm-hmm. So we're both going Bucks then.
Yeah,
in terms of who we have more faith in.
It says something about the place the Bucks are at that we're like
a little reluctant.
Are we better than the 15 and 10? I'm pretty sure Lakers. It's like, I would hope so.
That being said, I don't think the Lakers are a bad team.
I don't either.
I have a lot more questions about the Lakers than I do the Bucks. I have a lot of questions about the Bucks.
I think both teams have been a little disappointing this year, but the Bucks have been more disappointing with higher expectations.
Even with LeBron turning back the clock on the minutes restriction, still.
Yeah, I think LeBron's been better this year than he has in the last 2 seasons. I think this version of himself is like truly the best version you can get
at this point in his career.
Right, but like even the old version of LeBron, I feel like this has been the best old LeBron.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you're saying, I thought you were going to like try and make the most ridiculous argument that like this is the best version of LeBron we've ever seen, I was going to shut that down quick.
Dude, you should.
I thought that's where you're going with it. I was like,
quit this podcast if I said that. You should be like, I'm not going to work with this fool.
Yeah, that would be legitimately insane.
No, I'm saying since 2020. Since LeBron's been like it's year 19, it's year 20, it's year 21. I think he's been better this year than the last 2 years before it.
That would not include 2020, right?
No,
Yeah,
he was better.
Like second in the MVP race that year.
Yeah,
he was pretty dang good.
Yeah, that was basically the last time he was like quintessentially a top 3 player in the NBA, without a doubt.
I just always think of that one tweet where it's like, LeBron's 34. We don't have to like deal with this fuckery much longer, or whatever. It's like, I don't remember the exact verbiage, the exact age, but I remember the feeling the tweet gave.
I think it was 32.
Jesus Christ, he's about to be 42. Jeremiah Green in the chat points out that the Bucks have won 15 of their last 18, and shouts outs to Andre Jackson Jr. But next. More faith. Wolves?
I kind of want to add a comment.
Okay.
The Bucks. Yes, that's true. But the Bucks, I mean, they've been winning even when they've looked questionable. It's really a matter of like they're not winning as impressively as they should be, which is something you fear. Playing down the competition is not good.
Yeah.
And Dame's been inconsistent, and Malik Beasley's your point of attack defender apparently.
I thought they were over that, but maybe not. More faith. Wolves or Sixers? These guys just played last night, and the Sixers beat the Wolves. Both are surprisingly excellent, if I may lay a little bit of judgment down on them. But two of the best teams in the NBA. Who do you have more faith in?
Listen, Embiid has been ridiculous this season, but he's also only ever disappointed in the postseason. And I also feel like that Sixers team goes as Embiid goes, more so than the Timberwolves roster goes of any other individual player. If you get what I'm saying? Like, if Ant has a bad series, or Cat has a bad series, or Gobert has a bad series, or Jaden McDaniels has a bad series, it's not as important as Joel Embiid having a bad series. Now, maybe I do feel like there's a chance this would be the year where Embiid breaks that habit because of the way that Philly's offense works this year. Him being utilized more as a playmaking hub, him dealing with double teams a lot better than he used to. But I feel like the Timberwolves are more of a collective unit, more of an overall squad. I like their depth more. I like their role players more. So I think I'm going to go with the Timberwolves. I like the Timberwolves a lot. I believe in them more and more ever since people gave us shit for not believing in them in that one podcast.
I don't even want to answer this one. Can I abstain?
You are allowed to abstain, or you could vote present.
Well, this one feels like there's 2 different red dots on your head, and you're fucked either way.
Yeah. I mean, both teams have. I'm just gonna really ride the fence here. Both teams have good and bad aspects about them.
Oh, come on, man.
I mean, I think a pretty reasonable concern with the Timberwolves is their half-court offense gets pretty stinky sometimes, and that's pretty. Their half-court defense is very, very good, but that half-court offense is not great. I'm gonna need to see that improve. So, like, I might lean the Sixers a little bit here, but, you're kind of banking on, like, an unknown here. And, like, the other side of the coin is banking on the known doing something different than it's done in the past and, like, breaking through. So, like, either way, you're kind of taking a gamble. Me being someone who, likes Minnesota sports, I would like to say the Timberwolves, but I have just as many questions about them as I do the Sixers. So I don't know. The Sixers are kind of more poised to finally break through, but that being said, history could repeat itself. So I abstain. I'm not answering.
What's this thing that I feel like people have been saying this on Twitter ever since Joel Embiid had that sarcastic press conference recently, that he's been reading the Thinking Basketball book? Artos in the chat recently brought that up. Did this happen?
Did he say that?
Was he seen reading it or something? Or you just said he's been reading it?
No, I'm pretty sure he has.
That's pretty funny. Yeah. Well, Joel Embiid about to learn the ins and outs of all those things that Kevin Durant hates. More faith. Indiana or Dallas?
Dallas.
Wait, I have another. I keep thinking of comments after you introduce the new topic. I'm sorry,
if
but
you
I
must
can't
go off. Then go off.
I feel like Embiid is just like, damn. Embiid kept choking in the playoffs so much he started to believe in advanced analytics. So you know what? They might be spitting. I need to try this.
But Indiana or Dallas? Alex, you're pretty quick to say Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas.
100%.
Yeah, and their defense isn't isn't good, but it's not like the Pacers are horrible on defense. Like,
Yeah.
people keep talking about, and listen, I say this as someone who's very happy for the Pacers and everything they've been doing this year. They have been a great story, and I think they're going to continue to get better. They have their superstar in Tyrese Halliburton. Good for them. I'm very happy for the Pacers. Their defense, I don't know how anyone can watch the Pacers play and think that this team is going to be able to survive in the postseason, because that defense it's not just bad, it's non-existent. It's horrible.
Yeah, it literally looks like you're watching a YMCA game when you turn on a Pacers game. Like, it's like, how many open backdoor cuts? How many times do you just part the Red Sea on a drive? How many times is a shooter just comically wide open? Just over and over and over again.
I cannot wait to see Ja feast tonight, facing the Pacers in Memphis, coming off of a Pacers back-to-back.
I think people are conflating a fun team with being a really good team. And the Pacers are cool. I think in the right matchup, they could be a second-round team. They're definitely not like super good. They're very, very fun, but they're not in a contender tier. And I think the Mavericks lower in the totem pole of contender tier, but still ultimately contender tier. And I also think they are a better defense than their 23rd rank puts them at. I think they can be even better than that. I think the Pacers could be better than that, but it's more of a matter of coaching. Like, I think playing Jarris Walker more, I think changing a lot of their defensive scheme. I think you could get Indiana to the point, even with the personnel on their roster, to being, maybe like 22nd. But even then, you're still not talking about a good defense. No matter how ridiculously good, literally even historically good, your offense is.
Yeah, like the thing with the Mavericks and the Pacers, it's like, if you look at their defense, Dallas has the 23rd ranked defense. They give up 118.3 points per 100 possessions. League average is 115.6. So they're about 3 points per 100 possessions off league average. The Pacers, according to Cleaning the Glass, are dead last in defensive rating. They give up 123.6 points per 100 possessions. So the difference between Dallas, who is the 23rd ranked defense, and league average is 3 points, whereas Indiana is almost 10 points per 100 possessions off a league average defense. That's really, really bad. Dallas is closer to being a league average defense than they are to being the worst defense in the NBA.
Yeah, so I guess undoubtedly Dallas then. All the hype for the Pacers is real, but not real enough to overcome Luka. Next.
I mean, they have the best player and the second best player second best, I guess, not second best player, best second option by a considerable margin.
Yeah, definitely.
More faith, the Thunder or the Celtics?
The Celtics.
The Celtics.
Easily, huh? Just like that, even after
if the Thunder get Lowry Markkanen, that's
different.
An
different story.
But the Thunder right now, I'm going Boston.
Okay, let me put it to you this way: which of these two teams needs to make a trade at the deadline or before the deadline more?
Neither of them do, but OKC, just if we're talking about like in a hypothetical where they're competing with each other, yeah, you need more firepower to be the best.
With the Celtics, though, I mean, like, they sort of notoriously only have like six. They got like six starters and then like maybe three guys that they can just throw in there.
That's not their problem. That's not why the Celtics are losing these games. They're not losing these games because they don't have a deep rotation. They're losing these games because they settle for threes and refuse to run plays, and they never get to the rim. Their low volume of rim frequency is the reason they're losing games. Not because they don't have good bench players. Do they not have good bench players? No, they don't. They don't have a ton of depth. That's no secret. I think everyone can agree on that. But that's not why they're losing games. If you watch a Celtics game, the reason they're losing games is because Jason Tatum refuses to drive to the basket and wants to take pull-up threes for 10 minutes in the fourth quarter. It's like, that's why they're losing games, not because Peyton Pritchard's on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, I think they can absolutely, like, their six is about as good of a six as you could conceivably ask for. So in a playoff rotation, even if you only have three of those guys on the floor, you're going to have enough quality NBA players in the game at any given point, that you're going to more than make up for the fact that there's maybe a dud or two out there with you. And I even think Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser could be respectable enough in a postseason setting. Not like a good defensive bunch, but like at least hitting open threes at the bare minimum to keep the defense honest.
Yeah, and they've started getting Namias Keita in there more, and he's been
that's a big man, right?
Yeah, he's their like kind of backup center right now because I don't know if Luke Cornett's the way forward, but
he is.
Yeah,
not.
Keita's been great. I think he should definitely be like the backup center. He's got some issues, but it's a bench play. Like if you're people like sometimes expect perfection from bench players, and like no, like bench players, there's like a trade-off. You're like accepting that you're going to give something up to gain something in return, or you're just trying to like hold water until you can get the starters back in. And like, yeah, there's guys on the Celtics who struggle, and they're not going to be like the type that can hold water. But the Celtics don't necessarily need to hold water. They just need to not give up a ton while their starters aren't on the floor. And then when they get their starters back on the floor, they need to not be idiots. Yeah, and that's the only thing standing between the Celtics and the championship in my eyes.
I mean, I think the Nuggets figure it out and they can beat the Celtics, but that's literally it. Like,
right?
At the very least, the finals appearance.
And last one, kind of bringing it back to the top of the pod: the Grizzlies or the Dubs? Who do you have more faith in going forward?
Grizzlies, weirdly enough.
That's what I like to hear. Alex?
Especially if we're talking going forward years.
Oh, years. Yeah. Years is a different story. Strictly this year, I don't know. The Grizzlies still having all these injuries, even having Ja back is a little...
Don't get me wrong. I think the Grizzlies have a bigger uphill battle, but I think like if I was a team... If like either of them made the playoffs and I was a team facing them, I'd be more scared of the Grizzlies than I would be scared of the Warriors, even with the Stephen Curry factor.
Especially with Brandon Clark back. He's posting footage of him dunking, even though he tore his Achilles this calendar year, or ruptured his Achilles, whatever. Projecting a comeback around All-Star break, maybe right after All-Star break, which is where I have been optimistically hoping it to be. Never been verified until after Ja hit that game winner. Brandon Clark posted a little bit of dunk footage for us. So if we got Brandon Clark kind of covering our ass as far as our weakness down low, and either acquire a wing or get lucky and only play Vince Williams and Desmond Bane at the 3, I have more faith in us, I think.
But yeah, but those are like hypothetical, like if this happens, yes. I agree. If the Grizzlies make moves to become a better team, I would have more faith in them. But if the Warriors make moves to become a better team, then I would have more faith in. It's like
I think the Warriors are more likely to make moves than the Grizzlies are, frankly.
Yeah.
Can you bring up this comment for me here from Jeremiah Green?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, we say this about Boston every year because it's true every year.
Yeah,
that's why.
It's like there's a reason why we say it every year because it keeps happening.
The Celtics keep going very far and then capping their own potential, and that's happened every time. And we'll say it until they finally don't.
And We've been saying it for 5 years because it's happened for 5 years.
Yeah, they've been to the Eastern Conference Finals over and over and over again.
I think he might have been agreeing with us. So I agree, Jeremiah. We do say this every year.
Yeah,
you're right. I'm tired of saying it, but
right.
The Celtics just can't help themselves, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. That's kind of the vibe I got from it. I was like, he knows what's up.